The Love Letters of Mary Wollstonecraft. Part 4. Letters 35 to 39. In the last part, hope grew more fragile. Now we reach the most emotional chapter of her correspondence. You may occasionally hear an unfinished name, or only a title, such as Mr. or Doctor. Those omissions are part of the surviving historical text, where certain names were removed by later editors. They have been preserved exactly as they appear in the original publication. Every uncertainty, every heartbreak remains exactly as she left it more than 2 centuries ago. Welcome to She Reads Tales. And now, her love letters. Letter 35. Paris, February 9th, 1795. The melancholy presentiment has for some time hung on my spirits that we were parted forever, and the letters I received this day by Mr. convinced me that it was not without foundation. You allude to some other letters, which I suppose have miscarried, for most of those I have got were only a few hasty lines, calculated to wound the tenderness the sight of the superscriptions excited. I mean not, however, to complain. Yet so many feelings are struggling for utterance, and agitating a heart almost bursting with anguish, that I find it very difficult to write with any degree of coherence. You left me indisposed, though you have taken no notice of it, and the most fatiguing journey I ever had contributed to continue it. However, I recovered my health, but a neglected cold and continual inquietude during the last 2 months have reduced me to a state of weakness I never before experienced. Those who did not know that the cankerworm was at work at the core cautioned me about suckling my child too long. God preserve this poor child and render her happier than her mother. But I am wandering from my subject. Indeed, my head turns giddy when I think that all the confidence I have had in the affection of others is come to this. I did not expect this blow from you. I have done my duty to you and my child, and if I am not to have any return of affection to reward me, I have the sad consolation of knowing that I deserved a better fate. My soul is weary, I am sick at heart, and, but for this little darling, I would cease to care about a life, which is now stripped of every charm. You see how stupid I am uttering declamation, when I meant simply to tell you that I consider your requesting me to come to you as merely dictated by honor. Indeed, I scarcely understand you. You request me to come and then tell me that you have not given up all thoughts of returning to this place. When I determined to live with you, I was only governed by affection. I would share poverty with you, but I turn with affright from the sea of trouble on which you are entering. I have certain principles of action. I know what I look for to found my happiness on. It is not money. With you, I wished for sufficient to procure the comforts of life. As it is, less will do. I can still exert myself to obtain the necessaries of life for my child, and she does not want more at present. I have 2 or 3 plans in my head to earn our subsistence, for do not suppose that, neglected by you, I will lie under obligations of a pecuniary kind to you. No, I would sooner submit to menial service. I wanted the support of your affection, that gone, all is over. I did not think when I complained of contemptible avidity to accumulate money, that he would have dragged you into his schemes. I cannot write. I enclose a fragment of a letter written soon after your departure, and another which tenderness made me keep back when it was written. You will see then the sentiments of a calmer, though not a more determined, moment. Do not insult me by saying that our being together is paramount to every other consideration. Were it, you would not be running after a bubble at the expense of my peace of mind. Perhaps this is the last letter you will ever receive from me, Mary. Letter 36. Paris, February 10th, 1795. You talk of permanent views and future comfort. Not for me, for I am dead to hope. The inquietudes of the last winter have finished the business, and my heart is not only broken, but my constitution destroyed. I conceive myself in a galloping consumption, and the continual anxiety I feel at the thought of leaving my child feeds the fever that nightly devours me. It is on her account that I again write to you, to conjure you by all that you hold sacred, to leave her here with the German lady you may have heard me mention. She has a child of the same age, and they may be brought up together, as I wish her to be brought up. I shall write more fully on the subject. To facilitate this, I shall give up my present lodgings and go into the same house. I can live much cheaper there, which has now become an object. I have had 3,000 livres from, and I shall take one more to pay my servants' wages, and so forth. And then I shall endeavor to procure what I want by my own exertions. I shall entirely give up the acquaintance of the Americans, and I have not been on good terms a long time. Yesterday he very unmanlily exulted over me on account of your determination to stay. I had provoked it, it is true, by some asperities against commerce, which have dropped from me when we have argued about the propriety of your remaining where you are. And it is no matter. I have drunk too deep of the bitter cup to care about trifles. When you first entered into these plans, you bounded your views to the gaining of £1,000. It was sufficient to have procured a farm in America, which would have been an independence. You find now that you did not know yourself, and that a certain situation in life is more necessary to you than you imagined, more necessary than an uncorrupted heart. For a year or two, you may procure yourself what you call pleasure, eating, drinking, and women. But in the solitude of declining life, I shall be remembered with regret. I was going to say with remorse, but checked my pen. As I have never concealed the nature of my connection with you, your reputation will not suffer. I shall never have a confidant. I am content with the approbation of my own mind. And if there be a searcher of hearts, mine will not be despised. Reading what you have written relative to the desertion of women, I have often wondered how theory and practice could be so different, till I recollected that the sentiments of passion and the resolves of reason are very distinct. As to my sisters, as you are so continually hurried with business, you need not write to them. I shall, when my mind is calmer. God bless you. Adieu. Mary. This has been such a period of barbarity and misery, I ought not to complain of having my share. I wish one moment that I had never heard of the cruelties that have been practiced here, and the next envy the mothers who have been killed with their children. Surely I had suffered enough in life, not to be cursed with a fondness that burns up the vital stream I am imparting. You will think me mad. I would I were so, that I could forget my misery, so that my head or heart would be still. Letter 37. Paris, February 19th, 1795. When I first received your letter, putting off your return to an indefinite time, I felt so hurt that I know not what I wrote. I am now calmer, though it was not the kind of wound over which time has the quickest effect. On the contrary, the more I think, the sadder I grow. Society fatigues me inexpressibly, so much so that finding fault with everyone, I have only reason enough to discover that the fault is in myself. My child alone interests me, and but for her, I should not take any pains to recover my health. As it is, I shall wean her, and try if by that step, to which I feel a repugnance, for it is my only solace, I can get rid of my cough. Physicians talk much of the danger attending any complaint on the lungs after a woman has suckled for some months. They lay a stress also on the necessity of keeping the mind tranquil. And my God, how has mine been harassed? But whilst the caprices of other women are gratified, the wind of heaven not suffered to visit them too rudely, I have not found a guardian angel, in heaven or on earth, to ward off sorrow or care from my bosom. What sacrifices have you not made for a woman you did not respect? But I will not go over this ground. I want to tell you that I do not understand you. You say that you have not given up all thoughts of returning here, and I know that it will be necessary, nay, is. I cannot explain myself, but if you have not lost your memory, you will easily divine my meaning. What? Is our life then only to be made up of separations? And am I only to return to a country that has not merely lost all charms for me, but for which I feel a repugnance that almost amounts to horror, only to be left there a prey to it? Why is it so necessary that I should return? Brought up here, my girl would be freer. Indeed, expecting you to join us, I had formed some plans of usefulness that have now vanished with my hopes of happiness. In the bitterness of my heart, I could complain with reason that I am left here dependent on a man whose avidity to acquire a fortune has rendered him callous to every sentiment connected with social or affectionate emotions. With a brutal insensibility, he cannot help displaying the pleasure your determination to stay gives him, in spite of the effect it is visible it has had on me. Till I can earn money, I shall endeavor to borrow some, for I want to avoid asking him continually for the sum necessary to maintain me. Do not mistake me. I have never been refused. Yet I have gone half a dozen times to the house to ask for it, and come away without speaking. You must guess why. Besides, I wish to avoid hearing of the eternal projects to which you have sacrificed my peace. Not remembering, but I will be silent forever. Letter 38. Havre, April 7th, 1795. Here I am at Havre, on the wing towards you. And I write now only to tell you that you may expect me in the course of 3 or 4 days, for I shall not attempt to give vent to the different emotions which agitate my heart. You may term a feeling which appears to me to be a degree of delicacy that naturally arises from sensibility, pride. Still, I cannot indulge the very affectionate tenderness which glows in my bosom, without trembling till I see by your eyes that it is mutual. I sit, lost in thought, looking at the sea, and tears rush into my eyes when I find that I am cherishing any fond expectations. I have indeed been so unhappy this winter. I find it as difficult to acquire fresh hopes as to regain tranquility. Enough of this. Lie still, foolish heart. But for the little girl, I could almost wish that it should cease to beat, to be no more alive to the anguish of disappointment. Sweet little creature, I deprived myself of my only pleasure when I weaned her about 10 days ago. I am, however, glad I conquered my repugnance. It was necessary it should be done soon, and I did not wish to embitter the renewal of your acquaintance with her by putting it off till we met. It was a painful exertion to me, and I thought it best to throw this inquietude with the rest into the sack that I would fain throw over my shoulder. I wished to endure it alone, in short. Yet, after sending her to sleep in the next room for 3 or 4 nights, you cannot think with what joy I took her back again to sleep in my bosom. I suppose I shall find you when I arrive, for I do not see any necessity for your coming to me. Pray inform Mr. that I have his little friend with me. My wishing to oblige him made me put myself to some inconvenience and delay my departure, which was irksome to me, who have not quite as much philosophy. I would not for the world say indifference as you. God bless you. Yours truly, Mary. Letter 39. Brighthelmstone, Saturday, April 11th, 1795. Here we are, my love, and mean to set out early in the morning. And if I can find you, I hope to dine with you tomorrow. I shall drive to's hotel, where tells me you have been, and if you have left it, I hope you will take care to be there to receive us. I have brought with me Mister's little friend, and a girl whom I like to take care of our little darling, not on the way, for that fell to my share. But why do I write about trifles, or anything? Are we not to meet soon? What does your heart say? Yours truly, Mary. I have weaned my Fanny, and she is now eating away at the white bread. Thank you for being here and sharing this journey with me. I'll see you in the next part, here on She Reads Tales.